stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up. And throughout the world today.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Good morning. Welcome to the show. It's my fault and nobody's fault but mine that I'm late this morning. Really. It's amazing. So the staff were ready. Everything was just ready to go. They were waiting on me to come into the studio. So my bag. You can get involved by calling 888-7753. 888-77 Jesse. 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 Amazing. Excuse me. And my biblical question for this week is a doozy. It's a mamma mia. It's a hola. It's a si, senor. It's a gracias. Why is your life one collision after another? Why is your life one collision after another? Isn't that amazing? You can podcast all the shows if you're too busy to just sit and watch it. But if you would like to hear the show live while you're doing what you're doing, what you look like you're doing, you can be listening to the show on your iPhone or iPad, no matter what you're doing, all right? By calling the listen line on Talk Screen Live at 605-615-4131. 605-615-4131. Amazing, huh? And we have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk. Buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk. Or Bond JLP Cash App. Bond JLP Cash App. Amazing. So, believe it or not, it's Thursday again. Already. Thursday. And Thursdays are open to everybody, of course. But we set aside Thursday for Bible Thumper Thursday. And again, for the new listeners, the reason we did that, have a day for Bible Thumper Thursday, because it's really difficult to communicate with Bible thumpers, only because they have lost that sense of communication. And what they do, because their heads have been filled with the word, and they have intellectually learned about what they think is about God, all they do is, even if they do ask you a question or make a statement, they're just thinking in their head about the next scripture. They're not thinking of how to respond to you responding to them. So we set aside Bible Thumper Thursdays to work with that. We love the Bible Thumpers. We love the Bible Thumpers. And so every Thursday is and will always be Bible Thumper Thursday.
See, my family, we're not like regular churchgoers, but I know places like this are supposed to help you feel better, and that's really what I need. I did something terrible, and now I just feel like there's something wrong with me. I mean, really wrong, deep inside. I can't shake it. What do I do?
Who authorized women to teach? Jesus. It's not just for ordained men.
Nothing will make you more like Jesus than having compassion for others.
Self-control is my ability to enter into those tears, my ability to embrace that emotion.
He literally became a human and felt everything that we did so he could relate to us.
It's a whole new world, baby.
Jesus was not trying to relate to you.
Well, thanks. I feel much better. Bye.
Amazing. He was not trying to relate to you, believe me. But anyway, 888-77-53773. Jesus was not trying to relate to you. That's dumb. But, I was, by the way, in the third hour today, I'm going to be talking to your friend and my friend and the whole world friend, Owen Shroyer, from our InfoWars in the third hour. All right, so get ready. In the third hour, a tough young man, smart, and has endured a lot. So I can't wait to talk to him about those things and others. But anyway, Bible Thumper Thursday, 888-775-3773. I do want to hear from you. There's one line open right now. The board is filling up. I was reflecting yesterday, and I was thinking about there was a black guy, I think around 27, between 27 and 29, somewhere in there. And he called, and I believe he meant well, really. And he was talking about the Black Panther Party and the impact that he felt that it had upon the country and why they did it. He felt like and I don't want to read him wrong, so if I'm misreading, forgive me. But he seemed to he had the idea that what the Black Panther did in America was needed and effective in a positive way. And he was saying that he had read some book by Hugh Newton or somebody. He had read some book, and he was pretty serious about it. And he had believed into what he read. He had believed into it. And I understand him, understood him. But what I realized is that he had a made-up mind. Whether it was right or wrong, it was a made-up mind about what he believed. And it was, I'm using the word unfortunate, but I'm not sure if it was unfortunate. Because in life, you get what you put out, right? You get what you put out. And then after he called, there was what seemed to be an older gentleman call, or a guy called from Tennessee, somewhere around that area. And he agreed with the young man that called and had believed into all the wrong things. And it was interesting to hear that. So I reflect on that a little bit yesterday. The older guy called, right after him was from Kentucky. And so I reflect on it, and I reflected, and I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense. And what I realized from that, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. That's why you shouldn't judge people whether you agree or disagree with them. You don't have to agree with them, but don't judge them. They are doing the best they could. But what I realized from that, and I never, ever, ever, ever heard this. And I used to hear when I was growing up, and in my young adult life, I would hear sometimes from the older preachers. But now, I don't hear it at all. Zero. It's like it's forgotten. It is forgotten. And then I mention it sometimes in my fellowship or when I'm talking to people, and some people tend to get it, or at least they listen, and they start to see if it's true or not. And then some people hear it, and they just, oh, okay, and then they're okay, fine. And they go back to their old nature. But then once in a while, one or two people hear it, and they grab onto it, even though they may not understand it fully, it somehow or another makes sense to them, and they want more of it. And what it is that I don't hear at all now, and I even ask people about it on the Father State, maybe even sometime here on this show, the Jesse Lee Peterson show, but on the FatherState.tv, I ask people about it, and they have no clue as to what I'm talking about. Zero clue. And I'm thinking, wow, that's so interesting. And what that is that there is, and without a doubt, there is another reality. There is another way to live. And there is another location to live from. And that place is called the kingdom of heaven within. Within us, there is a kingdom of heaven. It really, really is. And the kingdom of heaven, this location within, has nothing, zero, in common with the outer kingdom, with the world. It has nothing in common with it at all. It's as different as it is night and day. And the outer world rejects the inner world. The outer kingdom rejects the inner kingdom, and the inner kingdom rejects the outer kingdom. It really, really does. I'm not making it up, I'm telling you the truth. But most people don't know about it, and they don't believe it. If they hear about it, they love their outer world. They love their outer world. And they would do, even though the outer world, if you really, really pay attention to it, is nothing but destruction. It is nothing but destruction. Wars, violence, crime, worry, doubt, insecurity. There's nothing good in that outer world. Looking for love and never find it in that outer world. And when you do think you have found it in another person, and you and that person get together, all you do is fight. And you realize that wasn't love. I thought that was love. And it wasn't. Because it's not in the outer world. You worry about, just when you worry about high taxes, you worry about if you're going to make it tomorrow, you'll find that you worry in that outer world. And what I realized from that is that most people love the outer world. They love the misery. And they don't want to hear that there is another world, another reality. Really. They don't want to hear it. A few do, a handful. And when I say a handful, I really mean a handful. And because you love that outer world, you love that conflict, what you put out come back on you. You create your own world. And that you and you alone, nobody else, and I promise you this, you and you alone and no one else is to blame for your conflict, for your fears and your doubts and your jealousies and your worries, and you're looking for a leader, believing in somebody else to guide you, and your confusion, your hurts, and your sickness, and your lostness. Only you is responsible for that. And I really want to, this is for all people, but I really want to bring attention to the blacks. I've realized that for 70 years now, give or take, not all, but most black people have done nothing but blame others for their situation. They just blame. They're angry. They're lost. They're lonely. They're depressed. They have. They're confused, and they blame others for it. They are so lost. I want you to think about this. Smoke on this one. They blame something that they say happened 150 years ago, give or take. Slavery. What kind of mentality that would make you believe that slavery has something to do with your condition today? Think about that. Think about that. But you believe it. And then you believe it because, first of all, you've been brainwashed to believe it. You've been told by other lost people, that deceivers, that's what your issue is. It's the white man. It's slavery. It's what the white man have done to you. And then they bring up situations like, what about black towns where blacks ran things and black this? They believe that has something to do with their condition. And because it's their nature, because that's their nature. It's in their nature, it's in the mind. Their nature is darkness. Their nature is of the world. Their nature have caused them to believe that somebody else has control over your life, and they can stop you from doing and being what you want to do in life. They believe it. And they'll fight with you. They'll call you names. They'll cut you out. They will attack you if you tamper with that belief. They don't want you to even suggest that there's another way. There is a kingdom of heaven in us. There's a kingdom. And your nature, until you overcome that nature of thoughts and emotions, you're going to always be worldly. You're going to be of the world. And you're going to be miserable. And you're going to project out into the world what you are, and you're going to bring it back to you. What you put out, come back. If you look at a person that looks sad or afraid or shy or whatever, angry, you see that on their faces? That's what's coming back to them. They are creating their own world. They're creating it. They're putting it out there, and they are getting it back because it's their nature. And no one, as an adult, little children, your parents are responsible for you, but when you grow of age, you're responsible for you. You are your world. But you and you alone is to blame and nobody else. Because you don't realize, or maybe you don't realize that your nature is that of the world. And if you notice, human beings of the world do not take responsibility. They don't blame themselves for what they're getting back. They blame somebody else. They can't see that they're putting that out. And I try to tell black people, white people are not responsible for you. Oh, zero. You are your world. You're responsible for your world. And this is not only to the blacks, it's to everybody. But the blacks are so locked in with it because they have believed. So is a man thinking, so as he is. They have believed that it's somebody else. A 27-year-old man has no business, zero business, believing that somebody else is to blame for his or anyone else's situation. Really. But because he has not, and people like that, has not discovered that there is a really another way of living. There is a living from within, not from without. There's a living from without, but that living is death. There's no life in it. Look at how cruel the world and human beings are. They're lost. They're nasty. Christ said when they're angry, don't trust them. They're murderers. And not just physical murderers, but spiritual murderers in the mind. They're murderers. Wars. We got wars going on in the world today, and it should not be. But the nature is evil. The human nature, which is of evil, is evil. You need a brand new nature. You need a renewed mind, and you can have it. But you got to work on you. And I want the blacks to know, and then the whites who are blaming the Jews, to know the Jews are not responsible for your issue, and the whites are not responsible for the black issues, and the Mexicans are not responsible for the Chinese issues, or Guatemala issues, or you and you alone. No one else is responsible for your situation. What you are putting out in your mind and your nature of the mind is what you're putting out is what you're bringing back onto yourself. Really. And you don't realize it. And no one else is to blame. No one can bring anything upon you that you don't allow them to bring upon you. If you were not of the mind, you wouldn't think about what other people are trying to do to you. It wouldn't be in your mind. That would be their issue on them. It would be their life because it would be their nature. The nature is evil. It is evil. And I want the blacks to know that because of your nature, and you can't see from within, you're only seeing from the outside, you're going to go another 150 years blaming white people for your problems. Generation after generation after generation. And it's never going to get better until you wake up and discover the kingdom of heaven within. There's another way to live. It really is. There's another world. Christ mentioned that world when he said it was done. The kingdom of heaven is within. Don't look without. It's not out there. It's not over there, he said. Don't look left. Don't look right. Don't look behind. Don't look forward. It's in you. Look within. And the last thing you want to do is look within. You hate your misery, your unhappiness, your worries. And I hear a lot of people talk about, have compassion. If you want to have real compassion, then work on you. Have compassion and work on you. Compassion is you. It's not somebody else. And to the blacks, you've been brainwashed. You are your problem. And I want you to think about this. This is to the blacks too. But to all, the principles apply to every human being. But to the blacks, reflect. Sometimes when you reflect, it'll stick. And you're like, what the? Just think about this. For the last 60 to 70 years, almost 70, maybe 70, the white people have done everything you asked them to do. Everything. Everything. They gave you the civil rights movement. They gave you the quote-unquote right to vote. At Mays mentioned one day. They gave you the right to go into white people cafes, even if they didn't want you in it, or into their neighborhoods. Even if the whites didn't want you in, and they had a right not to want you because they own the house, they have a right to say who they can have in their home. They have given you that. They have given you their schools. They even told you don't have to qualify to go to the school, just come on because you're black. And I got to take a quick break. When I come back, your phone calls and super chats. 888-7753-773. Back in a moment.
Hey, listen, before I ask my question, I want to thank you so much. The silent prayer. You know, I'm 50 years old. At home, we have a 16-year-old, 14-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And I got to tell you, introducing the silent prayer to my family, instead of just sitting down and saying the same old prayer over and over again before we eat our meal, to just be silent, bringing all thoughts into captivity. Brother, that has been such a huge, huge blessing in our lives. I just want to encourage anyone to try that out. It's amazing to look around after we've done our silent prayer before we eat, to see the excitement in my kids' faces, like, oh yeah, Dad, I had a bunch today. Or the other one will be like, yeah, you know, I had a couple things that I've been thinking about. It really takes root, Jesse, and so I want to thank you so much. And ever since then, it's been absolutely amazing. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, Tony. Stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. You're going to know God and his love. It's going to be amazing, man. In the third hour today, we're going to be talking to Owen Shroyer, one of the smartest white men on this side of heaven, and a very brave man. And Lord knows we need strength in America today. So get ready for that in the third hour. And then, Anita Baker. And then we need, and then whatever, I forgot. I want to go back to this. I think we have a brand new episode of The Father State. I could be wrong. Where is it? Oh, brand new Father State tomorrow at 12 noon. I talked to a young man by the name of Riza Islam. Riza Islam. He is an activist, author, and outspoken member of the Nation of Islam. Watch this.
Next time on The Fallen State.
Does God love all people?
Nah.
He doesn't?
Not according to the book.
Is anger of evil or of God or Satan?
Oh, yes, of God.
So you believe that anger is good?
Anger has a purpose, but how you activate on that anger determines whether or not it's good or bad.
Amazing.
Amazing.
The God above is the man's God, and the God below is the woman's God.
You gotta stop playing.
I'm not playing. Is the earth flat or round?
Roughly the shape of an ostrich egg.
A what?
Ostrich egg.
What? Tomorrow at 12 noon, and you can support the Father State right there by going to thefatherstate.tv/donate or locals.com. All right? I just want to finish with this, and then I'll go to your calls. We're talking about this young man that called yesterday myself, and he was blaming white people or America or whatever. And it didn't make sense, but I'm like, okay. But anyway, I was saying to the blacks right now, but these principles apply to all people because people always blame others for their situation, and no one is to blame but you. And so I was saying to the blacks to think about how for the last 60, 70 years, give or take, that white people have done everything that they have asked for and asked them to do. They gave them the civil rights movement. They gave them their neighborhoods, allowed them to go into their businesses, even though they may not have wanted it, but the blacks imposed on it, so they said, okay, because you call them a racist. They have given the blacks affirmative action, and that wasn't enough. And they are now allowed the blacks to go into the universities without even earning the way in. Come on in, you're black, you don't have to earn your way. They have given the blacks DEI now. You don't even have to be qualified, and you can work on an airplane. Think about that. And they have given the blacks a black so-called president, i.e. Barack Hussein Obama, the fallen Messiah. They have given the blacks a so-called black female president. Shallow, lost, empty, but they gave it to them. They wanted it. It didn't matter, and it doesn't matter that the person qualified. They knew that that's what the black want. All they wanted is a black. Make sure the person is black. Okay, you're going to have it. They even given the blacks a Supreme Court justice who doesn't even know what a woman is. But she was black. They have allowed the blacks to get into government, become senators and congressmen and women and mayors, and it's just getting worse, but they gave it to the blacks. And yet the blacks are still not happy. They even gave the black man the white woman. Remember when some of y'all might not remember, but when they were doing all this fighting back in time, the black men were mad that they couldn't get the white woman. They're like, okay, you giving us everything, but you won't give up your woman. And the white man said, okay, you can have her too. And the blacks are still blaming. A 27-year-old man think that the white man is the problem. They think that white supremacy exists. And because white supremacy exists, they can't make it. Think about that mentality. That's the nature of human nature. It's not real. It's an illusion. But it's the nature. You need a brand new nature. You must die in order to live. You must die from the thinking. And you die from it by being aware of the thinking. 24 hours in a day, you be present. And you can die from it. But to the blacks and to the whites who are blaming the Jews and to the Arabs who are blaming the Jews or the other Arabs, whomever you're blaming, you and you alone is responsible for you. Your life is what you have made it to be. Really. You have the life that you want. Of fear, of trying to get wealthy, of comparing yourself to others, of being afraid, being shy, being lonely. And you tell yourself, well, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to get married, I'm going to make all the money, I'm going to get married, and I'm going to have a bunch of children, and I'm going to be better than my parents, and you become worse because of your nature. You need a new nature. Your nature is not going to work. And I promise you, every living being, living human being, you are responsible for you and no one else. What you're projecting out there in the world, you're creating it and you're getting it back. You create your own environment. And look at your environment. You don't have a pretty environment. You may live in a fancy home up in the hills with a lot of money, and people coming over, and they were having P. Diddy parties, and just having fun, and making music and movies, and being this or that, and your environment is still corrupt. You're still unhappy with your environment because it's in your nature. You must die from that old nature. You and you alone is responsible for you. You can't even see what's going on in the world around you because of your nature. You don't see how evil human nature is. You don't see how they create wars and they blame you or they blame somebody else or they make you a part of it. They convince you that a war is a good idea. They convince you that abortion is a good idea. Kill the man, children in your body and your choice. And because of your nature, you create that environment. You believe it. There is a kingdom. And you don't hear any of the dumb preachers talking about it. The most, quote-unquote, popular preacher in probably the world, but the United States, you don't hear them talking about another place to live from. They don't talk about the kingdom of heaven within. Do you ever? No, you don't hear anything about it. And then if they happen to read it in the Bible, they glass over it. They glance it, and they'll mention it and go on to something else. They don't know, and they don't want you to know. You don't have to live this way. You can have a perfect life right here on earth. And get out of your head about what perfect means. Your ideas about perfection or being perfect is not right. It's not true. All ideas about God are wrong. And to the blacks, it's too bad for you that a generation of young people who are in their 20s still believe, as much as the white people have done. The white people even let the blacks into the university, and then the blacks said, well, you can't come into this space because you're white. And due to the fear of the white, they said, okay, and let you have your own space in their colleges, their universities. And you're still not happy. You blame others. According to John 1, 2:14, 1 John 1, 2:14, the world of God, albeit in you. It's in you. I'm telling you the living truth, the truth and nothing but the truth. There's another way to live. But you got to look within. You got to forget about tomorrow or yesterday. It's an illusion. It doesn't exist. Come out of the darkness of that world in your mind. All thoughts are all lies, all the time, about anything. There was a young man at fellowship on Sunday, and he mentioned, you know what, just I realized everything I've been taught been wrong. I have to be re-educated from within. It happens from within, and it will happen. We played the if point for me. The if point is it. Can you pull up the if point? I want you to hear this, and then I'll take your call. I want you to just relax and hear. And maybe something will stick that you can think about later. But this is the New Testament. Watch this.
If, by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but are none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
the New Testament. Really. But you can live that way. But you got to do it from within. Not without. It's not going to happen from without. It's not going to happen from that old nature of the imagination, of thoughts and emotions. It's not going to work. And you never, ever, ever, never going to have perfect peace as long as you live from that old nature. And think about this. There are men and women in this country and probably around the world who have been told by preachers and pastors and bishops and others that Jesus is God. Jesus is God, they have been told. And they've been told, and they've been told this, but they can't find it anywhere in the Bible, nowhere in the Bible. And so, because the preacher read something and made it sound that way, when you read it, you read what the preacher read, and it sounds that way, even though it's not there. But that's what you see, because you're seeing through your senses of the world. There's another way to see. It's not even in the Bible, but you make scripture sound that way, because that's what you see in your imagination. You've been told that. And you've been told by preachers and others, with degrees and non-degrees, that you have a free will. And you have believed that in your nature, even nature, that you have a free will, but yet you can't will yourself to be anything. You can't will yourself to be free. You can't will yourself to never have another negative thought or worry. You can't will yourself not to be lonely or jealous or envy or strife or revengeful and try to hurt others, your wife, or with the wife, your husband, or your own children, your friends, or whatever. You can't will yourself not to do that. But yet you believe you have a free will. You can't even will yourself to not to be afraid. You wake up in the morning and you're afraid already as soon as you open your eyes. And then you pretend during the daytime that you're happy, and you go home at night and no one else is around, you cry. There's a kingdom of heaven within. There's another world. It's up to you to live there. It is done. Christ told you it is done. And you don't even believe that. You're still waiting for something else. You're waiting for Christ to come back. You're waiting for a return of Christ, and he has already returned in that kingdom within. You know, amazing. 888-7753-773. You and you alone, no one else, is responsible for your world, for you. Everything you're going through, you're bringing it upon you. No one else is. Yes, there are people out there trying to hurt you because they're living in that same dark world. And they are trying to hurt you. So your pain is coming from without and within. But within you, you overcome that within thing, you'll be fine. In the mind thing. Joe is out of Massachusetts. Joe, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hi, Jesse. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe.
Can I answer the biblical question?
Why is your life one collision after another?
This is a good one. It was easy for me, I think. I've been thinking about this for years and years. For example, why is it at 3 o'clock in the morning, if I'm headed to work, someone cuts me off on a Sunday? I've noticed that how I understand it is that the evil in others, the evil spirits in others, and the evil spirits in me need to live, and they live with anger, frustration, and whatever. So that's why I'm constantly in collision with others, because their evil wants to live and my evil wants to live. And when we collide, it causes problems. And that's how they live.
And so why is your life one collision after another? And you say your life is one collision. Why?
Because the evil spirits in me want to live, and they live through me with anger. And the evil spirits in others want to live. And that's why I'm constantly in collisions with others in life. For example, I drive a tow truck.
Go ahead.
I drive a tow truck 50 hours a week all over the city, and I'm always in the way. And it can be 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be bringing someone to the country, and I will pull in front of someone's house on a dead-end street, and that person will come home, and they will get mad because I'm in the way. And it's like we're always in collision with each other, I think, because the evil spirits need to live. They want to live, so they're constantly trying to get in the way of each other so that we're constantly fighting, and we're constantly angry, and we're constantly unconscious, as you say.
Amazing. I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you, man. I'll put my 2 cents in on Sunday. Very, very interesting. Thank you, Joe. Let me go quickly to Richard out of Florida. Richard, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Thank you so much, Jesse. First, I want to say thank you, Lord, for such a dumb black man who's the wisest man I probably have heard in probably a long time in my life.
Black and slow.
Exactly. Best way to be is retarded. Gives you more time to catch up.
Yeah.
Sir, I just want to clear up this Bible confusion. I believe there's Bible confusion because the easiest way to separate people is to give them different languages. And then if you want to separate them again, just write a book and give it different interpretations so that then you get the book written in 1,000 languages, and then you get the book written in English in over 1,000 versions. But I always ask the same question. Does anybody really know the Bible if they can't read it in the original language God used, Hebrew or Greek? So I went around looking and I said, well, this must have come from the first religion. And the first religion came from the Tower of Babel. So everybody's just babbling along. And I started asking myself, why Hebrew and Greek? That's for other people to discover. Those languages are actually numerical. So there's numbers for every letter. So the actual Bible becomes a mathematical formula with codes. Probably too much to go into that. So I started searching, and I went and I looked, and I said, let me start with John 1:1. And I looked at John 1:1, and it says, in the beginning, there was the Word. And I thought, you mean in the beginning there was a word floating somewhere and it became everything? And I started to look back and I thought, but what language was this written in? And then when you look up the language Greek, it actually turns out the word is logos, which means order.
Amazing.
And then I started realizing everybody's out of order with God.
What a man. Yeah, Richard, thank you, buddy. I got to take a break. Hate news and not the fake news. Thank you, Richard. Back in 7 guaranteed steps to spiritual, family, and financial success guide. Even if you're not starting a business, but you have a job or you're on welfare, it can help you if you do. Be doers of the word, all right?
Today's show is brought to you by SEVENWOOD Financial Services. For 20 years, SEVENWOOD has been a trusted partner to Americans who take action to guarantee their retirement income. Their team of licensed, independent producers will help you understand your best options for protecting your hard-earned savings. So stop living with your retirement worries. Call SEVENWOOD and let them help. Schedule your free consultation now. Call 860-470-6250.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world. Hurricanes, or at least one. Wars in the Middle East. Hopefully a government shutdown. Cross your fingers. Not that it does anything good, or not that it does anything bad. And the New York City mayor he's like indicted or something like that. What a mess. This is the end of hour 1 of Bible Thumper Thursday. It is Thursday, September 26th, AD 2024. The lines are full, guys. Oh, no, there is one line open. One line just opened up. You can call in right now during Hake News, Not Fake News. And JLP will be right back to your calls and some great stories and your many, many super chats. So hang tight. Matt, by the way, we have a special guest coming up in the third hour. We'll cut off YouTube, but you can go on over to Rumble. Jesse Lee Peterson on Rumble. Live now, by the way. A massive storm, according to Commie Nonsense Network, CNN, is churning through the Gulf of Mexico. It's expected to make landfall in Florida today, if it hasn't already, as a Cat 4, Category 4 hurricane. The storm's surge, how high the water rises above normal levels, could climb to 20 feet. Man, along Florida's Big Bend. The National Weather Service has warned Hurricane Helene could unleash unsurvivable conditions in Appalachia Bay. Wind speeds in the storm expected to reach at least 130 miles an hour. That's not too shabby. It's pretty fast. Though additional strengthening is possible. Thousands of Florida residents have already been forced to evacuate, and nearly the entire state is under alerts. Widespread power outages also likely across the southeast. So we're wishing you well, people. Middle East, a diplomatic push is underway to prevent a regional war, according to Commie Nonsense Network, from erupting in the Middle East, with the United States and their allies calling for a 21-day ceasefire across the Israel-Lebanon border, as the evil lame-o UN chief said that they were preparing for a possible ground incursion into, urged all sides to step back. The UN chief's not going to go in there. The UN chief urged all sides to step back from the brink. Like he has any power, right? Or any sway. The calls for calm come after Israel's military said they are preparing for a possible ground incursion into Lebanon. I skipped a line, my bad. It also said that they're calling for 2 reserve brigades for missions in the north. Wow. As the conflict escalates, Israel and Hezbollah are trading waves of strikes, forcing tens of thousands in Lebanon to flee their homes. Israeli Prime Minister based Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu, I use the term loosely, don't get mad, has not responded to the ceasefire proposal, his office said in a statement today, adding that reports suggesting there could be a pause were incorrect. And that's a quote. And cross your fingers for a government shutdown. Commie Nonsense Network CNN says Congress Wednesday approved a spending plan to avert a government shutdown. Darn. The agreement will fund the government till December 20th under a narrow continuing resolution, CR, advanced by Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson, the Christian rhino. I call him that. The measure faced opposition from some members of his own conference in the Republican-controlled body, forcing Mike Johnson to seek significant Democrat support. It will be sent to Crooked Joe Biden, the so-called president, to be signed into law. Crooked Joe applauded Congress for avoiding a costly government shutdown and saying that in a statement that it gives lawmakers more time to pass full-year funding bills by the end of the year. How about you get the spending under control and also get the border under control and kick out these illegals who don't belong here? No, they don't want to do their job. And New York City Mayor Eric Adams, the black one, indicted on one federal criminal charge, if you believe that, according to multiple sources to Commie Nonsense Network. By the way, somebody pointed out that he's the only major mayor to call out the immigration problem. Who knows? I'm James Hake.
to stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the second hour of the show today. You can get involved by calling 888-77-53-773, 888-77-JESSE. Jesse, Jesse. And my biblical question. The biblical question is a doozy. Why is your life one collision after another? Why is your life one collision after another? You ever ask yourself that? Why is my life one collision after another one? What's up? And you, whether you're working out or whatever you're doing, wherever you are, we are heard around the world by everybody and they mama if you're black. Everybody and they mama if you're black. Everybody and their mama if you're white. We are heard around the world. You could be listening to the show on your iPhone or iPad. You can podcast, of course. But you could be listening by calling the listen line on TalkStream Live at 605-615-4131. 605-615-4131. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, and we're going to get to your super chats, go to Buy Me a Coffee. BuyMeACoffee.com/JLP Talk or Bond JLP Cash App. Bond JLP Cash App. It is Thursday. It is the second hour of Thursday radio show today. It is Bible Thumper Thursday.
I know I'm supposed to go to my seat now, but my mama's a 10-year cancer survivor, and she's standing right there. Wave your hand, mama. 34 treatments of radiation. You can't tell me what God wants.
Somebody beside you
I know what God can do.
I want you to grab somebody around you that don't mind dancing, and I want you to hit the floor right now.
Yes.
What does the Lord have to say in 2024 when we see a qualified, brilliant black woman, Dr. Claudine Gay?
Women at the top of their game and the top of their fields are treated as if they are not the superstars that they are.
You can try to say it's any other thing, but this is a continued onslaught against diversity, equity, and inclusion.
See how lost they are? They're lost in their own evil nature. Really. They're lost in their imagination. And the people are shouting. And the people are hooping and hollering. And the people are quoting the scriptures. And they'll believe in lies. And they will never have peace. And those very same people are not aware of the kingdom within. Someday, by and by, they say, when I die, I have peace, they say. They're already dead. The eyes are open, but barely breathing. They pray to a God that they don't believe in. Isn't that amazing? You and you alone is to blame for your situation. It's not your fault that you use your money to make friends, to get women, to buy things, to pretend you're important. And then the people take advantage of you. And then you cry. And then you get mad and you wonder, why did they take advantage of me? I was so nice. I gave to them. I bought this for them. I did that for them. I did this. That was your fault that you were weak. You created that environment from your nature. That old evil nature. Ego, evil nature. They are not to blame that you were weak. They took advantage of your weakness because of their nature. You and you alone. You can't blame it on so-called racism, which doesn't exist, sexism, homophobism, Allah-u-Abba-ism, anti-Semitism, white supremacism, Debbie Dad-ism. It's all fake. It's not true. And you believe it. You and you alone create your own environment. You create your own world. You are your world, and you're living in the world that you want to live in. Isn't that amazing? 888-7753-773. Let me go to William out of Norway. William, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Jesse, can you hear me?
Go ahead, William.
So I have a question. I don't know if you remember, James Pierce, he was on your show, the Stoic. Do you remember him?
Who was that?
He was a 23 years old philosopher. He was talking about the Stoic and life.
Never, ever, ever, but never. Ask a black man if he remembers.
Okay, but he was talking about God.
But your question is what? Go ahead.
You was talking about God, and you asked, and he told you like he don't know. The truth is he don't know if he exists or not.
Okay.
And he seemed to follow your teachings that you talk about in the church, and he asked you back if you know if God exists, and you don't really answer it.
Okay.
So if you ask me if God exists, I really don't know. What do you think about the question?
That you don't know if God exists?
Yeah, if you ask me the truth, yeah.
So you're asking me, what do I think about the fact that you don't know if God exists?
No, because he asked you if you know if God exists, and you didn't really answer it. You just skipped the question.
And so you're asking me now, what do I think about the fact that you don't know if God exists?
No, I'm asking you how do you know if God exists?
You will know.
I will know?
Yes. If you got to ask the question, you're saying that you don't know. But if if you don't have to ask the question, you do know.
Okay, because
so are you saying you don't believe God? You don't know if God exists or not?
Yeah, because he said like if you say I believe in God exists, that means you don't know, because believing means that you don't know.
Right.
And when he asks you the question, you just skip it. So I watched the episode like 10 times, and he seems like to follow your teachings that you teach on your church.
Right.
But he goes by what you say, like in the mind is the devil. He says it's the mind. And it seems like when you say God, he just says the truth.
Oh, okay.
So I just wondering about that.
You wonder, and what are you wondering?
Because he seems like to follow everything you teach, but he goes by...
You know what? I don't even know who you're talking about. And so I can't respond to what he said or what he's thinking because I don't remember. Not only do I not remember, but I have no idea who you're talking about. Do you know that God exists?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Honestly.
Well,
Can I ask you one more question?
Yes.
So you give every week, you give some something to think about, right?
The Bible question?
Yeah.
Why is your life one collision after another?
No, I'm wondering, like you said, just be still and know God, right?
Right.
So when we are doing some thinking, should we think about the question or just sit and watch?
Sit and watch. Very good question. Just watch. And what you're watching is what the thoughts are telling you that the question means. And whatever the thoughts are telling you about it, let it pass. And then you would know what it means.
So we shouldn't think about nothing, right?
Right.
Like when we do
self-inquiry. Except for practical things about, where you want to rent your house or buy a house or whether you want to go to work or not, what you're going to eat, those kind of things. But other than that, there's nothing else to think about.
What about the question you give every week in your church?
The biblical question?
Think about them?
The biblical question?
Yeah.
Well, we just went over that. You shouldn't think about it, but you should. I put the question out there so you can watch and see what the thought. I'm repeating myself, but you're watching to see what the thoughts say about it. Don't believe them, and then you shall know what it means.
Okay, what is then self-inquiry? What we should do with that self-inquiry?
Nothing. There's no self to inquire.
Just watch.
Yes.
Don't think. Just watch.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Because there is no self to inquire. How can you do a self-inquiry when no one is there?
No, because I listen to your church and you say always you give questions and you say think about this week.
Oh, I see. No,
so
when I say think about it, I don't want you to get in your head. I'm not saying get in your head and think about it.
What should we do? Just watch the question?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Stay with it, William. Stay with it. Stay with it. Don't give up.
Okay, man. Thank you.
All right,
thank
buddy.
you, Jesse.
Okay.
All right.
Bye now. 888-7753. 773 888-77-JESSE. Let me go to Ronnie out of Ohio. Let's see here. Ronnie, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Uncle Jesse, how you doing today?
All is well, sir. Thanks for calling.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask you that question, even though you're a black man. I'm going to ask you if you remember.
Ask!
Yesterday, talking to that 27-year-old, you asked him what was wrong with the blacks, why they can't stand as individuals.
Right.
You remember that question?
Kind of. It definitely sounds like a question I would ask. So, yes, it's possible.
Yeah, you said, why do the blacks need leaders?
Right.
Why can't they just stand as individuals?
Yes.
And then the other thing you was asking them, you phrased it, you said, we gave you people Obama and we gave you people DEI.
Yes.
Remember those questions? Okay. When you said we gave you people DEI and Obama, who were you referring to when you said we, and who were you referring to when you said you people?
When I said we gave it to him, I'm talking about America, and then you people are the blacks who want it.
Okay, so black people aren't included in America?
Yes, they are included in America.
Okay, so when you said we gave y'all, or when you said we gave you people, who is we?
America.
Okay, if black people are America, like you just said, how can America give black people something?
Well, because those blacks are in America, and they have separated themselves from America in that they believe that somebody else has control of their lives. And so they keep begging, and we keep giving it to them.
Amazing. Okay.
Amazing. So, Ronnie, before you run, can you respond to the biblical question?
Remind me of the biblical question, please.
Why is your life one collision after another?
It's not.
And why do you say it's not?
Because if it was, I would be able to give you an answer. But my life is not one collision after another. So I can't give you an answer to a question that doesn't apply to me.
Okay, and do you know why it is not one collision after another?
Because God is good.
And His mercy endures forever.
Amen.
Thank you, Ryan.
I think a lot of people that if their life is, I would say if their life is one collision after another, my advice to them would be follow God. Instead of thinking that they got control over their life, they got to realize that they don't. And then when they realize that they don't, they'll see that God is in control, and then they'll be able to kind of go along with that plan as opposed to the one that they got devised in their head.
Amazing. I appreciate you responding to the biblical question, Ronnie, and I'll put my 2 cents in on Sunday.
Sounds good. Yes, sir.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, have a good weekend.
All right, you too now. Amazing. 888-7753-773. 888-77-JESSE. Super chat. Super.
On buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk. C 3 coffees. Oh, no, I already read that from C and the Queen Cutie Pie. Thank you, guys. These are from yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Ronnie from Ohio, speaking of.
Right on.
Bought our coffee. Uncle Jesse, what prevented you from correcting Bill Lockwood when he incorrectly said we have a free will?
Because of time, and it wasn't about that.
Also,
Thank you, Ronnie.
Also, you said the UN hasn't done anything good. Isn't the UN responsible for establishing Israel as a state in 1948?
I don't know what, that's an interesting question, but I don't know what the UN has done. From what I see, they've never solved a war, ended a war, or they've never stopped a war from happening. And did they have anything to do with Israel?
That's what I heard.
You heard what?
That they established Israel.
Is that a good thing?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, Ronnie. I'm not familiar with that. Though it does sound, when Hake read it, it does sound like I may have heard that before, but I'm not up on it. Amazing. Thank you.
You notice they flip-flop like a woman on everything they do. Because they're anti-Israel.
Really?
Yeah.
So why did they establish it then?
They're not of one mind. Also, it's different people ran it back then, so I don't know.
Ran the UN?
Yeah.
I don't even know why they have a UN.
It's fake pretense like they're going to stop World War III.
Oh.
They had a League of Nations after World War I to stop no more wars. And then they had a World War II, right? And then let's have a UN, United Nations. It's better.
Man. They want power.
Yeah, exactly.
So-called power. Well, thank you, Ronnie.
Mike Young with the coffee. Hey, Jesse, I could be wrong about this, and I welcome your correction. But I wasn't there when Jesus was alive. But would it be fair to say that Trump is like Jesus because people are complaining that he's divisive, but people don't seem to understand that Jesus came to divide and not unite? What do you think, Jesse?
And what is it that he could be wrong about? I thought it was a statement. Did he? So he said that he could be wrong about something. What is it that he could be wrong about?
I think he thinks that Trump is like Jesus.
Who is that from?
Mike Young.
Mike, be clear. Because I don't know if you're making a statement or asking a question. I thought you were making a statement.
Yeah, that's true. He did ask a question.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say?
Be clear with that, Mike. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Another from Mike Young. Hey, Jesse, when I hear angry male callers, Maurice and Armante, what a dumb name, by the way, he says, whoa, sound like angry black females. It's no wonder why America is so weak, because men are weak.
Okay. Thank you. Why are you attacking the name?
I don't know.
Is that a bad name?
I don't know.
Thank you. Is that Mike again?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Soul Conscious, 3 coffees. Jesse, you forgot to mention Armante. It's Armante, I think. That the white men also gave them the white women, too.
I said that.
Hashtag ungrateful.
I said that the blacks, the white man even gave them the white woman. I literally remember hearing black people in the media and other places complaining that the white man won't give them the white woman.
Crazy.
And finally the white man said, okay, you can have her too. Anything else?
Wow.
And the blacks are still not happy because you're responsible for your own world. You and no one else. Amazing. Thank you.
See, Bill, 5 coffees. We are losing our country because men are weak. Forgive mama. Put down the pot and video games and vote for the Great White Hope, or you will see buses loaded with illegal immigrants coming to a town near you under this administration. American, you are being replaced.
That's for sure. What a mess. Thank you.
JV the Great, 3 coffees. We got the perfect example of misery-loving company right after that 27-year-old guy came on and black people being held back by the government. Another black guy came right behind him and agreed with everything he said while barely being able to recite a single thing. Another thing I noticed was earlier the caller talking about his only voting for Kamala to vote against Trump has the same spirit as those 2 black guys. There's no reasoning behind your decision, just emotions and assumptions.
Creating their own dark situations. Amazing, huh? Thank you.
Another coffee, a 4th coffee from JV the Great. I forgot to mention, the 27-year-old blaming the government should also blame the people who look exactly like him getting paid by the government to sell his black people out and keep them from progressing.
Good point. Amazing.
Britt, 5 coffees. Are you optimistic about the future of the West?
What's optimistic mean? Thinking that it's going to happen?
Thinking positively about it?
No. It's gone. It's over. It's kaput.
Kaput.
Kaput. If you're black, it's kaput. If you're white, kaput. No, it's over. My country is gone. Look around you and look who are in control of the country now. How in the world is it coming back? Really? It's gone. Thank you.
Tony says, hey, Jesse, this is with the coffee. They could buy a 3-foot pile of cocaine in front of my door and I'd walk by it every day. But I do know a few people in my building who would probably sniff it up in about a week or so. Is this backwards logic a new generational thing? Old school accountability taught is the best. What a mess.
Oh, mess. Yesterday, somebody called, I think a black person called and said that the white man was to blame about, maybe they got
one of those.
Somebody said it, that a white man is to blame about the coke, the drugs that were brought into the black community. I'm like, well, if that's true, which is not, but if that's true, did the white man make you take the drugs? Did he make the black people take the drugs? They're always blaming. I'm telling you, a lost mind is always blaming. Amazing. Thank you.
Danny bought a coffee. All right, Jesse and the lads. Have any of you noticed that all the children's films and telly, it's the girls that are the rational ones and boys are scared clowns and dads are right wallies? What's going on?
Yeah. They are literally making guys look weak and pathetic. It's amazing. I see it all the time. And even the conservative women love it. They love, and they push it too, putting the woman before the man. What a sad way to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Soterios with a coffee on the because when the devil tells me to jump, I just ask how high. I think I had overcome maybe a little, but yesterday someone pushed my buttons and showed me that I haven't at all. When you say you don't even know the depths of your thoughts and evil, you are not joking. But I'll just keep trying. What else can I do? Thanks, Jesse and crew. Keep opening eyes.
That's right. Don't give up. When you see that, just come back to the present. That's all you do. Come back to awareness of the thought. Don't give up, because you've been living in there for such a long time. And then don't think that you have arrived or not. If you believe you have arrived, then you're not. If you believe you haven't, then you have. Don't do either. Oh, amazing. Thank you.
Gregatron with a coffee. Jesse, what's wrong with these young black victocrats? They don't know anything. If Malcolm X was able to change his heart from hate to love, why can't people see that alone? Before he died, Malcolm X was willing to work with anybody who wanted to work with him. That includes white people. Jesse, you should talk about Malcolm X more on your show. Also, what happened to the buffalo that ran toward the storm? You don't talk about that buffalo that ran toward the storm anymore.
What buffalo?
Run into the storm, not away from it.
What buffalo that ran into the storm?
There's a story of a buffalo that ran into the storm, and you're supposed to be like that buffalo going into the storm.
I'm not familiar with the story.
Yeah, you are.
I'm familiar with the story where Sean told me about how buffaloes. The last producer, he told me about how the buffaloes run to the storm, away from the storm. So he's not mentioning a particular buffalo, right?
Not necessarily.
He's just saying I should mention that the buffaloes do that.
Yeah, because I think you can say buffalo, and that's plural.
Oh, okay.
Means buffaloes.
Thank you.
Hey, sorry for the non-pithy coffee. I'll believe it when you fix your non-pithiness. Gregatron. Dolores.
Thank you, Gregatron.
Low funds with a Cash App, an amazing Bill Lockwood segment.
It really was. If you missed Bill Lockwood's segment from yesterday podcast, he was in the first hour of the show yesterday, JLP Jesse Peterson show podcast. You won't be disappointed. If you doubt me, ask Maze. Maze love Bill Lockwood.
Indeed, she does.
Right, Maze? He made her think. I never did hear any more about, Maze brought up that something that happened with the blacks and the voting thing. And it made her nervous that may happen again or something. But she never said what it was, and I haven't heard any more about it. Maze, what was that you concerned about with the blacks and voting? And I guess it happened in the 60s or something. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And that does yesterday's Super Chat. Shout out to Greenwall, Games for Rec, Kid Combo, One Wolf 336, Misty, CEO of Based, Groovy Monkey, Army Ann, and Gigi Cash 22. Thank you guys yesterday for the D-Live support.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Amazing. Stop there for a minute.
Okay.
I want to take some calls and I'll come back. 888-7753.
All those voice from?
Let me go to AJ out of Washington State.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey, AJ.
How you doing?
All is well.
Cool. Yeah, I just got a couple questions about what you said with free will, but I'm also gonna bring it in with your biblical question. Why is it everything was colliding?
Yes.
So to answer your biblical question, I want to go.
Why is your life one collision after another?
Might call it crazy, but I feel like it's a collision of almost two universes, pretty much like reality and then like the internet.
Hold on, AJ, hold on. Let me take a quick break. I'll come back to you, AJ, right after this break. One line open now, 888-7753. Back in a moment. I recommend you get a copy of my book, From Rage to Responsibility. I write about how the spirit of anger was taken away from me 29 years ago. I forgave my mother who tried to turn me away from my father, and I returned to my father, and through him, my father on earth, and through him I was able to return to God. No man or woman can return to God unless you go through the Son. And men are sons of God. There may be weak, pathetic examples of it, but it's the spiritual order of life. God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children. So get from race to responsibility. I write about that. Go to my website, rebuildingtheman.com for an autographed copy, or call 800-411-BOND. And donate to my nonprofit, Bond, the Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny. We are rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Amazing. I like this song. What Owen Shroyer coming up in the next hour from InfoWars. A strong white man. You don't want to miss it. He has no fear. In the third hour, the next hour, you don't want to miss it. The Hake report is coming up at 9 a.m. this morning. You don't want to miss the Hake report from 9 to 11. The guy with the good hair, he has a guest today, Krishan Bedan. And you know how smart Krishan Bedan is. You don't want to miss that. He's going to be on the Hake report today at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And at 11 a.m., Joel Friday TV. You black. Joel Friday TV at 11 a.m. And at 4 p.m., The American Anchor Baby. Energy, 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 energy given to him by God. It's not even on loan. It's a gift. The American Anchor Baby. He's been having some good shows lately, too. Podcast, you'll see. And tune in at 4 p.m. Pacific time. All right? Amazing. Let me go quickly back to AJ. AJ has responded out of Washington State to the biblical question. So, AJ, the biblical question, why is your life one collision after another?
Well, at first I thought it was only me, but then now hearing you ask that question, I got a feeling it's everybody. And I have a guess. You know, in 1999, they said it was like the end of an era in a sense. And ever since 2000, the internet kind of got huge. I believe this collision might be like two universes between reality and the internet, because everything is kind of like swapping over to the internet.
So your life is one collision after another because of the internet?
Because of the collision of the internet and reality. There was no notifications back in the day distracting you constantly. There was more human interaction. You know, my kids, they won't be able to imagine a society ran on human interaction. You know,
so you're saying that your life is one collision after another because of the internet, right?
Yeah, because
and how is the internet causing your life to be one collision after another one?
Well, you know, distractions. Constantly you're having notifications beeping and alarming. You're always, you know, it's always something to respond to instead of like the focus on hand.
Oh, I see.
Right.
And why don't you turn it off?
Fair enough, you know, momentarily, but then this is me personally, right? But I'm saying on a mass, I believe everybody's going through this.
Why don't you turn it? Why don't you turn it off?
Because our reality is switching there. Everything we do is on there.
No, we talk about you. We talk about your life, not our life, not their life. Why don't you turn it off? Do you love the collisions?
No, of course not. But what am I? What are we supposed to do when?
And so why don't you
everything
turn
is
it
on the internet? Right?
Why don't you turn it off so you don't get all the notifications?
Okay, fair enough. Put the notifications aside for a second. That's only part of it, right?
No.
Then you have
No. I'm asking you. You
No, I
said
do
your
sometimes,
life
but not all the
is.
time.
You're saying that your life is one collision after another one because of the internet, and you mentioned the notifications. So I want to know, why don't you turn off? Why don't you turn off the notification if it's causing one collision after another in your life?
I would say because the rest of the world runs on the internet as well.
And what do they have to do with you?
Well, day-to-day things, right? People work or school. You know, there's a lot of things where you got to book things online now. You can't even call in and, you know, have a conversation with somebody to book something. Oh, please go online and book it there. Okay, you can send me to that universe. You know, and it's just like, and from 2024, so almost quarter century of technology at a massive rate. It's excelling and everything. Like our
Was your life one
collision?
collision? Was your life one collision after another before the internet or after the internet came about?
No, definitely. Well, I was born in '91, so there was no collisions that I knew of. I was a kid. It was, you know,
Okay, yeah.
it was stress-free back then. You know what I mean? It was.
Well, when you came on Earth, the internet was already here, huh?
Well, I mean, I was there when it came, like when the first iPod Touch came out.
Right.
Like that first smart device. You know, I was in school, and yeah, we were. I seen it. I felt it. Like
I got you.
It's crazy. Like, you know, now they're switching our lives to the phone. Like, you got a home screen. You know, you got a door to.
But that doesn't mean you have to go with everything, does it?
Well, if the whole world's going with it and it's leaving the reality behind.
And so you believe you have to go with it too?
Well, I mean, you got to figure a neutral zone, I believe. I don't know the answer to it. You know, why they wouldn't be colliding, right? I'm just putting my 2 cents on your question.
Nice.
But then I gotta put
OJ, thank you. AJ, thank you, man. Looked like you about to ask a mail, but I hung up. AJ, thank you, man. I appreciate it that responded to the biblical question. I put my 2 cents in on Sunday. It sounded like you were about to ask something else, but I hung up too fast. Myisha, a first-time call out of Texas. Myisha, you're on the air.
Hey, Jesse, how you doing?
All is well.
Okay, good. Can you hear me well?
No, are you speaking out of a can or a cup or something?
Can you hear me now?
I can now. You're on the speaker or YouTube or something? Bluetooth?
No, I just turned it off. I remember he told me I need to be face to phone.
Right. Yeah, really, so I can hear you clearly. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I had just started watching probably like really almost a week ago now. And everything you say, it's nothing that I've disagreed with yet. So I'm just like, wow, you know, this is like a new perspective that I never got before. And it just feeling right. But I know you say not to get wrapped up in the feelings too. So my question is, one second, because I really had a list of questions. But okay, so the first question I want to ask is, what if you're just for reference, I'm 24 and I live in Texas. So my question is, what if your father didn't forgive his father or mother, but they have passed? Is that something that, I guess, as a child, you need to know? Or is that none of your business? Like, how does that affect when your father is dealing with you? Like, this is specifically for my father, basically.
Well, you
not too much my mom, but
you forgive your father by realizing just that you cannot help yourself. You're living in anger, you're living in fear, or your imagination. and you can't help yourself, something else is driving you, it will cause you to realize your father had the same spirit. He didn't forgive his mother, and he couldn't help himself. And because he's dead, you can't go to him. It will cause you to forgive him when you realize he did the best he could.
Okay, wait, let me clarify. I don't know, you think my father's not dead, but his
who
father,
father you? I'm sorry?
my father's father.
Oh, your father's father is dead.
Right.
And you want to know, how can your father forgive his father?
Right. And then I want to know, as far as for me, because you said you have to go through the son to get to the father, correct?
Yeah, you got to, when you forgive your mother for turning you away from your father, imposing her will on you, recreating her image, you realize she couldn't help herself, and you forgive her, and then forgive your father for not protecting you from your mother. He couldn't help himself. He married his mother, or he made a baby with the woman that's just like his mother. He couldn't help it. Then God will forgive you because you have forgiven your parents, and he will make you free.
Right. Okay. Okay. So that's it. It's nothing else. It's nothing else I need to be wondering about. Like, for example, I had, like, me and my father, we exchanged, like, videos and stuff, whatever, just stuff that he sends me. But I had sent him one of your videos, and not because I wanted to, like, impose anything on him or tell him anything. I know that's not my position, but I was just sharing the video because he sends me a lot of videos, and I also want to know, like, what's this mean? He sends me a lot of videos about, like, defiant women and, men kind of putting them in their places, different podcasters and stuff like that. And also, this is my other big, like, thing that he always brings up is, like, and I just watched, you had 2 videos with, like, some Islamic leaders or something with the ICU and stuff, and he's really big on that stuff. And, like, the past, year probably, he was, like, it felt like he was trying to impose that on me, like, talking to me about it, saying I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to follow the commandments, or I won't be, welcome into the kingdom of heaven and stuff like that. So I'm just like, all of that didn't feel right. I just felt anger from him when he was communicating with me about this stuff specifically. I felt like I was feeling, I'm trying to go back and go through, like, what I was feeling. But anyway, ultimately, it was like, wow, like, you sound angry telling me about this. Like, they get into the white people and the oppression and, it's their fault. They're the worst. They did this to us. Like, yeah, like, it's their fault. We're about. So he gets into all of that. And then I come and hear you speaking, and I'm like, well, Jesse said that this and that. And that's, totally the opposite of what you're telling me. So how do you, like, okay, they say honor our mother and father, right? You're saying you can do that by forgiving them. So, like, how do you distinguish, or am I supposed to be trying to distinguish what he's telling me and if that's right and that's what I need to follow? Or, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like a little girl trying to figure out, do I listen to my dad or not? Like,
well, what you do, how old are you now?
24. I just turned 24 in March. And I just had a son as well. He's 6 months.
Oh, okay. Well, you're not a little girl. You're a grown woman now. And you are responsible for you. And so if you don't want to listen to that anger because that's what it is, then don't listen to it. Hey, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to talk about it. And if he insists on trying to impose it on you, you block him. But don't resent him. Don't be angry at him. He can't help it. He can't see. But just don't. You don't want to judge him. You just don't want to hear any more evil stuff because you got to watch out for your soul now. You got to watch out for the stuff that is put into your mind, and you're responsible for that. He is not.
Right.
So just tell them,
Okay,
hey, just tell them, hey, I realize you're angry at these people. You're blaming these people for your problem. I understand, but I don't want to hear it anymore. And if he insists, they say, well, I'm not going to talk to you if you continue with this anger. And again, don't be angry at him. He can't help it.
Right. Okay.
And that's what it means to honor your parents. It just simply means don't be angry at them. They cannot help themselves.
Right.
It doesn't mean you owe them anything. You got to live with them. You got to let them live with you. You got to take care. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means don't be angry. They can help themselves.
Right. Okay, yeah, and that's what I was understanding, but I'm like, I can't be fully understanding it if I'm still engaging with, the behavior.
Yes, right.
But it makes sense, though. Yeah, it makes sense. So I just have to apply that. I have also another question. Like, how do you know when someone is trying to disguise the fact that they're actually angry? Like,
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can now. You said, how can you what now?
How do you know when someone is trying to disguise the fact that they're actually angry? Like, what are signs? Like,
when you pay attention to what's happening inside of you, you're going to clearly see what's happening with others inside of them. They won't be able to hide. They may hide it for a minute, but you'll be able to see it. Don't worry, you will see it, because the light of God will protect you by allowing you to see that this person is deceiving you. So just watch and overcome the anger in you, and you'll see what's going on in others.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, also, now, this has been kind of a big one. So you say, like, okay, God has a voiceless voice. You can reach him through the sons, and which is man. Now, it's like, okay, there's a thing going around. As a woman, you cannot.
Let me just say this: you reach God by not resenting your father. That doesn't mean your father's right. That doesn't mean you got to hang out with him, but just don't resent him. And when you don't resent the son, then you can know God. You can love the Father. Love is just simply not hating. You don't have no anger toward him or anyone, really.
Right.
And then you shall know God. And so whatever were you about to say? Ask.
So basically, it is possible for a woman to know God.
100%.
Okay.
And you have to do exactly what men have to do. You got to see that you have this anger, and then you got to see where it came from, which start with the mothers. Go and forgive your mother. Hey, mother, I'm sorry for resenting you. You imposed yourself on me, or you were nasty, or whatever, right? Spoiled me, or whatever. You turned me against my father. I realize now you can't help it. I'm sorry. And Dad, I'm sorry for resenting you because you didn't protect me from my mother. You were weak or whatever. And I understand. You forgive them, and God will forgive you, and God will be your father. God will be your husband. You don't need a man.
Okay, got you. I see. Okay.
And then if God should give you a husband naturally without you looking for one or anything, if he give you one, the order of marriage will work by itself. It will work naturally. You would not have to do anything to make it work. It will work on its own.
Right. Okay, so I got one more question.
All right.
So I'm thinking about what you're saying as far as the forgiving, and is it possible to go to your father and mother, say, because I specifically remember me and my father having a conversation. I'm yeah, I probably didn't do it exactly how you just said. But I remember asking him. Yeah, see, I asked him. I didn't forgive him. That's why it's still going on. But I talked to him about it, and he was saying that he didn't fight because of the system. Like, he didn't want to get involved with the system and get thrown in jail, and then, so that's an excuse, right? Or is that valid?
Well, I don't know. It could be valid, because the system is against the men. So I don't know what he meant, right? Because he may be meaning something else. But the system is against the father. So maybe he realized, and again, I don't know what he meant, but if he meant that I wanted to fight for you, but because I knew I couldn't get you because the system is against the fathers, it goes with the mothers, I just didn't do it. If you meant that, I understand. But if you meant something else, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, that's what he meant.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you need to forgive Dad. I'm sorry for resenting you. I understand. And then, have you forgiven your mother yet?
Not correctly.
And why not?
Yeah. I need to go do it. There's no reason.
Well, forgive your mother so that, don't ask for forgiveness. Mother, I am sorry for resenting you.
All right.
And God will forgive you. Human beings don't forgive. Human beings apologize for being wrong, and anger is wrong because anger is judgment. And do the silent prayer. Do the silent prayer.
Right, and I think that's what I did. Yeah, I apologize. I didn't forgive, so that's how I was confused. I'm like, I thought forgiveness will open your heart, but I didn't do it right.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Amazing.
Okay, right. Okay. Okay. I just got you on the phone, so I'm like, well, hold on. Let me get it all out real quick. Okay, just real quick. I know you said as a single mother, we need to be focusing on our children. I just, because I haven't started doing everything as far as the silent prayer and the forgiveness, the feeling of, actually, that don't even matter. But I'm just trying to figure out, at 24 with a son that's 6 months, I'm not with the father. We have an okay relationship, but not with the father. How am I supposed to carry myself on, like, from this point?
By going and forgiving your mother and forgiving your father so God can forgive you. Do the silent prayer so you can stay present rather than living in your head thinking about the past or the future. And God will guide you. It will be amazing. And you will only pass on love to your son. And that way he doesn't have to grow up and become angry and have to suffer like that. And you will be at perfect peace. It'll be fine.
Right. Oh, and also, sorry, I just keep saying this. I got one more question. So I live with my mom. I moved back in with her. And so once I
Hold on.
forgiveness.
Hold on. Don't hang up.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me just tell y'all, I think we're going from YouTube. Do I need to say that? Tell them what's about to happen.
We're going to Rumble, folks. Owen Shroyer, you don't want to miss it. We're going to be on Rumble. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be redirected to another. Just find us on Rumble, rumble.com.
We're going over to Rumble right now, but to the callers, I'm going to take your calls. I'm talking to Owen Shroyer for a minute, and I'm going to take your calls. Myisha, don't hang up. I'll be back in a moment. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingaman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world. This is the end of hour 2 of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. It is Bible Thumper Thursday, September 26th, AD 2024. Hang tight, callers. JLP will be right back to your calls, as well as a special guest. We're getting off of the YouTube feed. We're going Rumble, guys. Catch JLP on Rumble or punchy.tv/JLP. I believe punchy.tv/JLP. And shout out to Cozy. I do believe we'll still be on Cozy and stuff. It's Hake News, not fake news. After the Jesse Lee Peterson Show, thehakereport.com, and then Joel Friday TV, and then American Anchor Baby at 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Catch him. New York City Mayor, as I told you, Eric Adams, indicted on at least one federal criminal charge, according to Commie Nonsense Network, CNN. The indictment follows a months-long federal investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, lame-o Manhattan, which was reportedly scrutinizing his connection to Turkish officials and businessmen and campaign donations he received. The charges he's facing, not publicly known at this time. I think they just released the charges on the news. I don't know, and I don't care. Eric Adams is denied wrongdoing. Repeatedly said he told members of his campaign and administration to follow the law. In a defiant video message sent out Wednesday, Eric Adams, he's the black mayor, a Democrat, former cop, insisted he was not only innocent, but that he was not going to step down. Sandy Cortez, who's like, before it was even announced that he was charged, I think, said, I don't see how he can continue on. Silly woman, evil woman. Anyway, Volodymyr Zelensky's in town, or at least in the country. Ukraine's unchristian president Volodymyr Zelensky visited the black on the inside White House today, where he will make an urgent plea for the evil Joe Biden administration, Obama Part 3, to continue providing aid to his war-torn country, to enable it to become even more war-torn. You do the math. The precise details of the victory plan Zelensky will present in separate meetings with Crooked Joe and cackling Vice President Kamala Harris. They are unknown, but according to people briefed on the matter, the plan reflects the Ukrainian so-called leaders' appeals for more immediate help countering Russia's invasion. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin, the most interesting man in the world to some, maybe not to all, warned the West Wednesday that Russia could use nuclear weapons if Ukraine fires conventional Western missiles into his country. So, got to tamp it down. Get Trump back in there. A man of peace, a man of strength. 10 people in the United States have died from listeria infections linked to recalled boar's head deli meat. I bet the vegans are snickering right now. Terrible. Dozens of others have been hospitalized with the outbreak strain of bacteria in 19 states. The CDC, not Christian, continues to advise consumers to check their kitchens for recalled products that have sell-by dates into October 2024. What a mess. Meryl Streep is running her mouth to the UN about women and girls in Afghanistan. A bird may sing in Kabul, but a girl may not. This is a suppression of the natural law. That's what actress Meryl Streep said, pointing out at the United Nations, the lame-o evil United Nations General Assembly this week, that animals have more rights than women and girls in Afghanistan. According to the Taliban's own strict interpretation of Islam, a woman's voice is deemed intimate and so should not be heard singing, reciting, or reading out loud. Among several other restrictions, women and girls in the country also not allowed to work or study beyond grade 6, 6th grade, and their bodies must be fully covered. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP Rumble, Hour 3.